this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no
a
one.
second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And we're here to show you what we got.
Yeah.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
Well, it actually does feel good to say that again.
It does.
We don't get here as often as we do. We both are very busy. And Mondays seem to be that day that I have no time. This is one.
That's the one day?
Well, okay, I don't have time most days. But when I do have some time, I like to be here with all of you. Every Wednesday, I try to do a pickup. Every Thursday, I try to do a review. Except this is going to be the first of my vacation videos that are going to show up. So you guys get a treat. You get to see my Europe videos.
Oh.
Which are pretty cool. So yeah, this is going to be some fun over that time period. I've been editing day 2. Day 1's already edited and ready to go on Thursday.
Okay.
But we have a lot here to talk about. So I wanted to talk first about a release by the AI Assholes, my horrible band. And that is, this new one, Saturday Mornings. And it is a kind of bootleg versions of Saturday morning shows that I grew up with.
With the bootleg Denver the Last Dinosaur there on the...
Yes. Actually, I believe this was taken from Pee-wee's Playhouse originally. even though it's not, because it's a AI generated, but it looks exactly like one.
Yeah.
So we've got this. There's only one original song on here, which is Saturday Mornings Were the Best, which I really thought turned out very good. But I'll go down the list here. We got A Piece of Love and Don't You Know It's Love from the Ranma movies. It's took the English lyrics and they very much sound different and you wouldn't recognize them. Then there's Charles in Charge without the E. And that's probably my favorite on the entire disc.
Was that a Saturday morning cartoon?
No, but it came on like after that for me.
Okay.
So I usually watch it right after the cartoons. And actually, I usually turn it off before it got into the episode. I just watched the opener and then turn it off because I really didn't care for it. And Scott Baio is not my favorite person anyway.
I think there were a couple shows like that for me.
But the theme just always stuck with me, and so I did this and added a few extra lyrics to it and just had fun with it. The Transformers, that one was a weird take. Tailspin, I tried to get it as close as I could, but it was fun. It was a fun version. Rescue Rangers, G.I. Joe. I don't even remember what the G.I. Joe one was like. DuckTales. Actually, DuckTales kind of had that kind of female punk band sound to it.
Whoa.
It's like, DuckTales. But it was there. No One's Happier Than I was taken from an anime version of Jack and the Beanstalk that I watched and liked a lot as a kid. It was creepy, but it was fun. The princess sang that when Jack first climbed up to the top of the beanstalk. Then Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
Muppet Babies. Was definitely done in sort of like a death metal style.
So was this one of Animal's projects, or was it?
And it's funny is that they have this. I had this thing where it's a spoken word where they go like, it's like, what are you kids doing in here? And they're supposed to say yes. It's like yes, nanny, or something like that. And it stops. And it does that scream, and then it stops with just a small British voice. Yes, nanny. As it goes. Mysterious Cities of Gold, which was done with a Spanish guitar feel, and it came out really good. Very, very nice.
Cool.
Only added 1 or 2 verses to that. Today's Special, which almost no one would probably remember because that was an old Nickelodeon show. And it was a fun one. Spartacus and the Sun Beneath the Sea, which I had gotten a DVD collection of and I need to get back to, but I've been kind of trying to catch up to the Marvel stuff. But once I've done that, whatever little spare time I have to watch will be on that to try and get through it.
Okay.
Denver the Last Dinosaur, which turned out pretty good, but I don't know if it turned out as good as the original. The original was really just an earworm song.
Well, several of these were.
Pinwheel, which was a old school Sesame Street type knockoff that Nickelodeon had. Pee-wee's Playhouse, of course.
Oh, did you play around with Sesame Street? That would have been an interesting one.
Dave did. Dave did one. I never watched Sesame Street.
Really?
Nope.
Wow.
I watched Foursquare. I remember that. And I watched Pinwheel was my main education one. Pee-wee's Playhouse I did as a country music song, which works out really well. Garfield and Friends actually came out like almost reminded me of like, why can't we be friends? In that vein.
You know, the funny thing is, the Garfield Christmas movie really is like a country soundtrack.
Yes.
So it kind of...
Now, Mario Brothers Super Show, it actually does sound sort of like a metal rap version. Danger Mouse, I don't remember. The Littles sounds almost identical to Alice Cooper. Like if Alice Cooper did the Littles theme song. And then the Monchichis is done in this creepy spoken word. So if you think this might be fun for you to listen to, you too can get a copy of this by going to the link below. And there's also all the other AI Assholes discs. There's Dave's band, Drown Out Dark, which he's got 3 albums of out there. And don't forget the many movies that are available, including soon a release of Tales of the Forgotten Part 2. So, you know, if you haven't gotten your copy of the first one, you should. Alright. Done.
Alright.
Now we can move on.
And now for something completely different.
Knock Us Dead.
Oh, am I kicking it off? I can do that.
Yeah, because I was talking all this stuff.
And I'm going to kick it off with a movie that is a Kino Lorber release. In fact, I think I first heard about it on their website because they'll, advertise stuff. And it looks very interesting. It's an Atom Egoyan film. The director of The Sweet Hereafter stars David Thewlis, and it's a film called Guest of Honor. And you've also got Rossif Sutherland, Arsene Hanjian, Luke Wilson, Lesla de Oliveira. I honestly know very little about this, but I like Thewlis. I think he's a good, solid actor. Luke Wilson's pretty fun. I'm not as familiar with the other members of the cast. And again, The Sweet Hereafter was a great, great film. So Egoyan has chops as a director. And you got that nice picture of him with a bunny, and I probably picked this up on one of Kino's periodic sales. I think it actually was pretty cheap, if I remember correctly. God knows when I'll ever get around to watching it, but it's good to know it's there for when I get to it.
Oh, I forgot about this shirt pickup, which was from Phil Herman out of there, and he was on these support indie film. Every frame tells a story.
Indeed.
And, some of these are really good, and like I said, I still hold that indie film creators are some of the most imaginative and creative people out there. They don't tend to have boards of corporate directors or overseers to cater to, and sometimes they have to bend over backwards to find something that people will watch, but people might be interested in, and some just do what they want, which is kind of cool to see. This is where, really, to me, the indie scene is where the real art is being made. Everything else, well, studios tend to be studios.
Yeah.
But speaking of artsy stuff, I actually do have something artsy to talk about, which is a Criterion film.
Yeah.
Which is a Todd Browning collection here that Criterion released, which I like because I could upgrade my copy of Freaks. Which, have you seen Todd Browning's Freaks?
I have not. I know of it.
So, I mean, it got banned in the U.S. for many years.
Yeah.
Of course, it does have some actual freak show freaks in it. And the whole, I mean, of course, you know the main phrase, one of us. That comes exactly from this. Yes, I do know that. And essentially, you've got these, well, freaks. And the strongman and one of the trapeze artists, I think, they end up trying to basically screw them over. And they end up getting their revenge, I guess, the freak's revenge. But this doesn't just have that on it. It has also the unknown and the mystic. And I have not seen a lot of Todd Browning stuff, so I am curious about it. I do want to watch this. As you can see, still not open, and I've gotten it since it came out originally. So it's a great upgrade to my copy of Freaks, which I picked up at Plan 9 many years ago. And it's just kind of cool to have it in a more easily preserved way, because I know Criterion takes their time, does a good job.
Yeah.
And I want to support anything that'll last.
Well, I was reminded today that they put out Anora because someone checked it out at the library, and I'm like, yay, I will be getting that when the sale comes around. Righty. My turn?
Yep.
Speaking of sales, this one I believe is also a Kino Lorber release that I picked up probably on one of their sales. It's actually an upgrade for me. I did have it on DVD, and now I'm upgrade to Blu-ray. And that is the movie Hollywoodland.
Good one.
Which features Adrian Brody, Diane Lane, Ben Affleck, and Bob Hoskins. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe Affleck plays George Reeves, father of Christopher Reeves, and the original Superman, the original television Superman. Yeah. But this one, is this the Black Dahlia mystery?
I think so.
I think this is based on, and if I remember correctly, it came out the same time as the movie called Black Dahlia, because Hollywood always does everything in pairs, like he was just talking about studios. But Hollywoodland was a pretty solid film, directed by Alan Coulter. This one doesn't have a huge number of special features, but it's got a couple commentary tracks and a couple other things. It's a pretty good release. Yes, it is a Kino Lorber release. Like I said, good movie. I had it on DVD from way back when, and I think it was actually a former rental copy to boot. So this is majorly an upgrade and space saver. I'm not in a hurry to watch the movie again, but it is nice to know that I have it in a more stable, permanent format. And that, if I ever do want to watch it on Blu-ray, now I can.
Well, this is going to be a fun one. I had debated this for a while, but when I got the Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe, I went ahead and I said, you know what? These are not that expensive, and I have been trying to collect. One of these days, I'm going to actually go to childhood cartoons that I watched and do a thing where I show off all the childhood cartoon stuff I've got that I used to watch as a kid. But, of course, He-Man Masters of the Universe and She-Ra Princess of Power. Now, 130 episodes of this, 93 episodes of this, I don't know if I'm going to want to watch this anytime soon because it's very rough looking. A lot of people were like, He-Man was so great back in the day. Kevin Smith ruined it by making it woke. I was like, I can guarantee you I'm probably going to have liked what I watched with Kevin Smith better than I will like watching this over. But it is a classic. I grew up with this. I love how it's got hours of bonus features, but they're the exact same bonus features. So I only have to read off of one of them, which
Right.
is, of course, we got the He-Man and She-Ra Secret of the Sword length movie. And we have the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special. Now, those are the actual movies that introduced She-Ra into the He-Man universe.
You know, I don't have the series, but someone recently donated that movie to the
Yes.
friends, and so I have added that to.
So you've got like the first appearance of She-Ra
Yes.
in there. So, you know. The Power of Grayskull, Definitive History of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Saturday Mornings, Legacy of Filmation. Hope, Honor, Heart, The Origins of She-Ra. And then finally, Early Concept Illustrations. Now, I do feel like it was a bit lazy that they put the exact same special features on both collections. But I did grow up watching both of these. I did think they were fun. I mean, yes, this was the He-Man for girls, essentially. But I didn't mind it. Now, I did watch the other She-Ra, along with the other He-Man, and I will say that both of them were really good. I thought that the She-Ra remake was a much more definitive remake. Kevin Smith cared much more about the source material. But I thought that the She-Ra Princess of Power series that Netflix did was actually really good. And unfortunately, yes, you can get part of the series on DVD, but not all of it. Which is sad because it has a definitive beginning, middle, and end.
Right.
And it was a really well done series. I really enjoyed it. And you know, I will be curious. Maybe I'll rewatch these and I'll be like, yeah, these were the excellent things.
You know, I bet it'd be expensive as hell, but that might be a fun project, I guess, for Shout to do. Would be like a set of like both versions of He-Man and like a set of both versions of She-Ra. You know, that would be kind of cool.
Just do a full He-Man thing, because He-Man She-Ra's only had one, to my knowledge, reincarnation, but He-Man has had multiple reincarnations over the years. Kevin Smith being the most recent, but I will say this: Kevin Smith one looks beautiful. Animation is well done. Yes, the first season is much like how the Scott Pilgrim season went, where it was mostly without the main character.
Yeah.
But the second half of it is all He-Man, so you know, and it worked to tell a tale. And storytelling is very important in this type of thing.
Good deal. All right.
Yep.
So, speaking of animations, my next one is not an upgrade because I already had all three of these movies on Blu-ray, but if I need to go back and look at them and make sure that I'm not like shedding a whole bunch of stuff with this set. But if I'm not, then it's going to be a major space saver because 3 movies in one little package. But I recently, and before we started, I was testing out a new external hard drive that I picked up. I had a handful of supplies I needed, and I did something that increasingly makes me feel very, very, very dirty. I placed an Amazon order. I'm trying to minimize those, but when I do, I'll usually look and see if there's a Blu-ray or something I can throw on the order. And I found something that also is appropriate timing because the upcoming live-action remake, and that's a 3-movie set of the How to Train Your Dragon movies.
Very good space saver.
It's DreamWorks How to Train Your Dragon, How to Train Your Dragon, How to Train.
Well, I go to the bathroom myself.
How to train. How to Train Your Dragon. That would be a very different movie. And How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. Now, I have to say, these are really good movies. These are really, really good movies. It's also appropriate timing because on the movie channel we've been discussing the Shrek movies, which is the same studio, DreamWorks Animation. I still think Shrek 2 and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish are right near the top of my list of DreamWorks animation films.
Yes.
But I would almost say all three of these films can stand toe to toe with them. This is probably the best single franchise DreamWorks has done. And I still don't know how they're going to do a live action. I hope they do it better than Disney has been doing their live actions. And I have hope that they will, but but for those 10 of you out there who don't know the series at this point, it's based on the children's book series by Cressida Cowell, which there's at least 10 books. I think there's more than that. So it wouldn't surprise me if eventually they made more movies. But I haven't read the books yet, but they're good. They're very popular. Very solid movies. Again, this is a big space saver. Even though my sets are Blu-ray sets, so they don't take up a lot of room to begin with, that's still better than 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's 2 Blu-rays down there.
And just looking at it, this is like micro print, so it's almost impossible to read. But it does look like it probably has all the special features from the original releases. So, if it does, that's pretty cool. And it wasn't very expensive either, so, not bad.
It's actually kind of funny because later this year I will be going to Epic Universe with Kim for one day, and that has a How to Train Your Dragon world.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, the worlds have their Universal Monsters world, the Dark Universe, essentially. There's a world dedicated to How You Train Your Dragon.
Okay.
One dedicated to the Ministry of Magic from Harry Potter. And then one Super Nintendo World, which is the main reason I want to go there.
Okay.
I mean, it's just...
Yeah, that sounds fun.
So, these next ones are pretty much... Let me see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4... Yep, good. So... These next ones kind of there. I kind of actually picked these potentially because of Saturday morning. I got some... I wanted to get this because Dave was big into the Flintstones Christmas.
I didn't even know there was a Christmas special.
Well, I knew there was going to be some just because of what it is. And this has a Flintstones Christmas and a Flintstones Family Christmas. So they say it's the complete, which is wrong. It's not true. Wrong.
Wrong.
But I gotta know because apparently it was one of Dave's big ones, and I'm pretty sure that eventually Dave is probably going to put this up for one of our December goes.
Okay.
So it's probably going to keep me from watching this because I'll be waiting until Dave puts it up.
Huh.
Then I got this here, the Holiday Triple Feature, because it has the other Flintstones Christmas special on it, which is a Flintstones Christmas Carol.
Okay.
I think would be on the collection.
You would think so.
And then there's Yogi Bear's All-Star Comedy Christmas Corner. Okay. And then there's the Smurfs Holiday Celebration.
Huh.
So I have some Smurfs on DVD.
Okay.
Finally. I detest the show.
Really?
I don't know why it is. There's something sickeningly sweet about it that I just detest. So I don't have it and probably never will have the actual show on DVD because I'll never watch it. So I have something of the Smurfs I might watch.
All right.
And I might actually pick these in there. I'll find out if Dave is going to put one of these Flintstones ones up because maybe I can bust it open for that. But I don't know if there's anybody who really doesn't know what the Flintstones are, and I guess it's possible because, I mean, but...
Or maybe they just think it's a stupid movie from the 90s that no one really liked.
Well, because, I mean, even when we were growing up, this was still in syndication, and it's still in syndication now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't know there were Christmas specials, but I definitely watched the
show,
Flintstones.
And it's just like, that's one of those that I knew about, and it came on and went off way before I was born.
Right.
So I would expect that maybe the kids of today would know what the Flintstones are.
I think most of those, the Flintstones, Yogi Bear, the Jetsons,
Bear,
I think I saw the Jetsons on there. Those were not on the air for long. You know, they were like, what, 3-4 years maybe?
I mean, shoot, I've got a recent picked up not too long ago.
Yeah.
Actually, my mother got it for me for Christmas, which was because it was on my wish list.
Yeah.
Which was the which was the Flintstones complete series.
Oh, very cool.
Which was cool. And I've also got the Jetsons complete series, but that one's much cheaper. And it's much shorter. But, I did watch a lot of those when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
That's the end of my cartoons, actually.
Okay.
And one I could have said I've watched on Saturday mornings later on when they had some live action stuff. But the other one, no.
So you're going out of cartoons kind of as I'm moving more and more into them. Well, cartoon. I hate using that word.
Cartoons.
But anyway, and also, you just mentioned something that I had thought about making a comment earlier, and I didn't. But you talked about your album here. You have the Garfield and Friends theme. You could have taken the songs from the Christmas special and made like a supercut of like all, because they're all like half songs. They're really, really short. You can make this big Bohemian Rhapsody style medley of the. That'd be pretty cool, I bet. Anyway, so my last two are a shout order I did. I'm thinking there was a sale, because Shout's not crazy priced, but they're high enough that I usually order when there's a sale going on. And I seem to remember it wasn't a great sale, but it was enough for me, like, okay, I need these two titles. I'm going to go ahead and jump on it. And one of them is one that, if memory serves, you presented the really fancy deluxe bonus edition, and I was really envious, and it's way out of print. And I think this series went out of print for a hot minute until they put out the standard edition. So I had to go ahead and make sure that I got that before it went out of print. And that is the series A Place Further Than the Universe. Which is still a nice little set. It does have a couple of special features. I have heard nothing but good things about this, mostly great things. I really want to see it. I'm actually kind of hoping it comes up with the channel eventually. Yeah, it's not as fancy as yours, definitely.
I keep seeing this logo, this A logo,
Yeah.
On stuff, and I can't remember what the company is, but I see it on more and more releases lately, and like there's 3 that come out this week that are from that particular group.
It may be a group that's in partnership with Shout or something.
But they've also had some partnerships with Crunchyroll, so it's kind of weird.
I don't know, but this is on Crunchyroll, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, I've heard good, solid stuff about this. It's not a long show either, 13 episodes, so maybe I'll get to it one of these days. And it's essentially about...
Oh, okay.
Basically about a exploration in the deep south, Antarctica.
Man, deep
could
south.
be interesting.
You go in there, those penguins are playing. And Gunther's looking at you.
I was gonna say they found Gunther's family.
But yeah, actually, it's funny as I did do some pre-orders of because they came out this week of Angel Heart and it's Angel Heart and there's a new film by the person that did the one about the about silent
I think
voice.
Yes.
By the director who did that, the new one.
Naoko Yamada.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I know that I should probably grab that. So I've got those on pre-order, but I've got them all. They're hooked up to the Blu-rays of the Galaxy Express movies, and they're on back order. And a lot of things are going into back order because of stock issues, which is caused by other issues, which we won't talk about. So. Harder to say what's going to stay in print and what's not these days.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad to be getting those things as they come. You know, one I want to get, but it's too expensive for my taste right now. I mean, Captain Planet has the entire series on Blu-ray. but right now $78 is the sale price.
Really?
On Blu-ray. Yeah, and I'm just like, there's a lot of episodes, but
You know, I don't know if I told you this. I don't know if you saw anything about it, but there's apparently a new comic series out about Captain Planet. And apparently it's a very different take on it than... Because you talk about... Captain Planet is a classic, and it is very much a product of its time. But I loved it, of course, being a lifelong environmentalist. I loved the show when
it
it
still
came
has
out.
good messages.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. I haven't seen it in years. But they only ever did like one... I think the first season got an individual release. But like you said, there's a complete series, and I'm going to try and get that eventually.
It's cheaper on DVD,
Yeah.
but I'd rather get it on Blu-ray.
Right.
Yeah. So, one that did not come with the sets, that up to my knowledge, was I wanted to finish this, which was Rescue from Gilligan's Island, which I think was the movie that officially ended the series. After 15 years on a deserted island, the crew is finally rescued. The question is whether they're ready for the changes that have taken place on the outside world. All the crazy characters that you've loved over the years are back and funnier than ever. Join Gilligan and the skipper and the rest of the crew on the hilarious voyage. Now, because the end of the Gilligan's Island, they ended up right back on the freaking island.
Right.
Spoilers for a very old show.
For a very, very old show.
I saved you a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, I believe, was the end of it, officially.
I think... Didn't you, or you could have actually... Gilligan's Island would have been great for that, even though I guess it wasn't Saturday mornings so much.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely on there. And I was inspired by that that one one CD out there that had a Saturday morning vibe to it.
Right.
Of course, you had famous bands doing the covers, like Sublime doing the Hong Kong Phooey one, and a few others. But a lot of those were even older than the normal. But yeah, Rescue from Gilligan's Island was one that I felt like, okay, it's $5. I go ahead and I can just end the series.
Right.
And that way, if I ever decide to watch it all, I can actually... I feel like that's something I like, is to have a story wrap up. I don't like what they do these days and say, no, we're just going to keep stories going on forever. You will die and you'll never see the end. I don't like that. I mean...
They keep going and going and going.
I mean, they're going to be rebooting Steven Universe. They've been rebooting Adventure Time, which, it's just... And a lot of those are unfortunately going to be on Max. Well, Max has already shown that they're fine with getting rid of shows forever. So, yeah, it's kind of sad. All right, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to double check something before I went and said something silly, but I'm not seeing it here. But you mentioned Gilligan's Island, and it got me thinking, because I'm almost sure I remember reading... I'm almost sure it was Gilligan's Island. I mean, yeah. I read something, and I think it was the Shrek franchise, that supposedly was heavily influenced by Gilligan's Island. And I had not heard that before, but I'm like, that's a fun thought. But anyway.
Actually, I could see Shrek as the skipper. And Donkey as Gilligan, of course.
Absolutely, yes. I could absolutely see that, yes. And I could hear him calling him little buddy, you know. But anyway, that's a funny thought. But anyway, so he kind of stepped on my big reveal for my big one for this.
Was it Gilligan's Island?
No. We were just talking about the new film from Naoko Yamada. It's called The Colors Within. I got the really nice Steelbook edition.
Me too, but mine will be much later.
And it came... Unfortunately, it's not packed away like sometimes they are. It came with a poster. There you go. Naoko Yamada, of course, is a longtime animator with a really impressive filmography as an animator. She graduated to directing through some of the series she was working on. She directed the K-On! Movie. She directed Tamako Love Story. She directed Liz and the Bluebird. And I think one of the other Sound Euphonium movies. But she graduated to non-anime based movies with a silent voice, which was a phenomenal adaptation of a really, really good manga.
Yes.
The Colors Within came out, I think, at the very start of this year, actually. So I think it'll be a contender for next year's discussions. From director, there we go. Beautiful coming-of-age story featuring music by Kensuke Ushio. Totsuko has a unique way of seeing the world. She can see colorful auras around people, though she isn't able to see her own. She finds herself drawn to her classmate Kimi, who glows with the most beautiful color of all. To get closer to Kimi, Totsuko forms a band with her and Rui, a quiet musician who plays the theremin. As the newfound friends develop the sound of their music, they start to uncover the desires driving the heart of their songs. So, drawing off of her experience with K-On! And Sound Euphonium, looks like this is going to be in that vein. And honestly, the plot reminds me of the really excellent Irish film Sing Street, which is one of my very favorites. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this. I wanted to see it in theaters, but of course it was a blink and you miss it,
Yeah.
But I saw this on sale, and I was like, I must have. And now I'm glad I got it, because if it's on back order, who knows?
It will be mine, oh yes.
But yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I have a copy secured, but it's unfortunately tied to a Right Stuff order.
Right.
So by the time I show it in a pickup, y'all have forgotten that.
Probably.
Same thing for the other one I mentioned. But I went ahead to get that because that's the other one, the other anime that's tied to City Hunter. And I can't remember what the other one was. Was it Cat's Eye that was tied to City Hunter?
Cat's Eye was tied to...
Yeah, see, I have Cat's Eye, but Angel Heart was not fully released, so I find like, getting that would be all the spin-offs.
See, I hear Angel Heart and I think about the Robert De Niro film, but...
So we have a Hammer discussion, essentially, Dracula Hammer films, most of them, with Christopher Lee coming up in September. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, let me go ahead and check and make sure I've got them because I want to try and get them all secured. Right. Like, okay, well, maybe it's on this Hammer film collection that I got, right? 20 films, right? And I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, I'm looking, and not a single one of the Dracula ones are on this.
Wow.
So then I say, okay, well, it's got to be on here. This is an 8-movie collection, right?
Yeah.
It's even got, Dracula's face on here, so it's got to be on here, right?
Right.
Oh, wait, Brides of Dracula.
There you go.
And then, Kiss of the Vampire, which is, by the way, not on our list. And that's it. 2 movies. So, I had to go ahead and fill the rest.
These are probably still cool collections, though.
They are cool collections to have. Then I went ahead and I got Dracula Prince of Darkness, which is the Shout Factory release.
Okay.
And I went ahead and I picked up this 4 Dracula set, which has the rest of the Dracula stuff. So between this, and this, I don't have any Dracula films that are combined. So there's no new Draculas, because Kiss of Dracula and Brides of Dracula, they are not on this set or this set. Well, this set only has the one film.
Right.
And this one has Horror of Dracula. Dracula has risen from his grave. Taste the Blood of Dracula and Dracula AD 1972. Now, out of the 5 we are covering Horror of Dracula, Taste of the Blood of Dracula, Dracula Has Risen from His Grave, Dracula Prince of Darkness, and Brides of Dracula.
Okay.
So, I only had one.
Yeah.
So I had to actually purchase that in order to get them. Normally I wouldn't. I've not been purchasing everything we do on Inside Movies Galore, but I feel like I should have the Christopher Lee Dracula films.
Yeah.
And that's something just because he's an iconic Dracula that I've never seen a single one of his stuff on. So I guess I'll be watching 5 of those in September.
Good times.
I won't be on for some of them because I won't be here for some, but I still want to have them and have them available.
Right.
So I guess that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and if you really like it, bye.
Woohoo!
I never put these up for much because I use a program to help me with this. I don't really want to make much money of it. I just find it fun to share those. So if you really want to support, you can support by getting the films and so on. But if you want something that's for a lark, you can do this. I basically sell it for cost. $5 basically is all I charge for these. So it's just kind of fun if you want to pick it up and listen to stuff. Because, I wrote the lyrics, I listen, I compare, and I do that. So it's kind of fun. And that, we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
SeptumSin versus the world. It's that place for all the boys and girls. You'll feel real safe, you'll feel real warm. It's a cozy place to ride out the storm. SeptumSin. SeptumSin and his best boy Jake see the trends that scare us every day. Physical media is going to the side. Doctor streaming will rule the world in time.